Here is Immortal Moments for explanation. Friends, like videos and subscribes to our channel. Martial Universe Season 10 Part 39 Explanation. So let's start our explanation. Black color flower fragrance circulated and pervaded the sky as a strange ripple enveloped the entire celestial demon Martin tribe. Due to this, the entire sky became foggy and hazy, causing one to feel somewhat dazed. This was an omen that the eternal illusion demon flowers were about to complete the illusion. Once the illusion was completed, the weaker celestial demon Martin tribe members will all be trapped within. Furthermore, even if they awakened, it would still leave them with severe injuries. After all, there was a huge gap between them and the top-tier practitioners in the heavenly cave. Let's attack now. We cannot afford to wait anymore. The leader of the celestial demon Martin tribe looked at this scene and knew that they could not afford to wait around anymore. Understood? Zhu Li nodded solemnly. He waved his sleeves before 10 figures rushed over from below. They were all ultimate experts who have stepped into the samsara stage, and they were considered as the elite of the celestial demon Martin tribe. Everyone else, protect the weaker tribe members. Zhu Li looked below and cried out in a deep voice. Currently, some of the weaker tribe members have already fallen into a hallucination. Therefore, there was a need for powerful individuals to protect them. Young friend Lin Dong, you can pick any of the remaining individuals. All you need to do is to leave some behind in order to protect the rest of the tribe. All right. Lin Dong nodded. Without further ado, his body moved as he swiftly pulled back. In the ancient times, despite the rampant behavior of your Yimo tribe, your tribe was still unable to exterminate our celestial demon Martin tribe. Now, you actually believe that you can exterminate my celestial demon Martin tribe with just 2 Yimo kings alone? What a joke! The celestial demon Martin tribe leader took a step forward before terrifying Yuan power gathered behind him. A reincarnation ripple spread and everything became quiet under this ripple. Ha, whether we succeed or not, we'll find out after we try. The Heaven Illusion King laughed. He clenched his hand before monstrous demonic aura spread. Many mysterious black symbols appeared over his pale face, causing him to appear even more sinister. Bang! The both of them faced each other before sparks flashed. In the next instant, 2 terrifying light figures shot out simultaneously before they collided heavily against each other. After which, both light figures rose into the sky amidst the spreading assault waves. Attack! Zhu Li waved his hand upon seeing this. Immediately, the 10 samsara stage experts behind him roared in unison. Following which, 11 figures shot directly towards the Earth Illusion King. Hao Jiuyo, take control of the formation and eliminate everyone else. The Earth Illusion King glanced at Hao Jiuyo, who was standing behind him, before he stated indifferently. Understood. A brutal expression surfaced in Hao Jiuyo's eyes when he heard this. After which, he stared menacingly at everyone present. After giving his instructions, the Earth Illusion King rushed forward and charged towards Zhu Li's group in an overbearing fashion. Monstrous demonic aura swept forth before he forcefully stopped Zhu Li's group. When Lin Dong saw the earth-shaking battle, which had instantly erupted in the sky, he involuntarily sighed. The lineup for this fight was not inferior to the one he saw back at the Flame Divine Hall. Little Martin. Lin Dong rushed downwards and appeared beside Little Martin. As of now, there were already many experts from the celestial demon Martin tribe gathering around him. Although they were weaker than the elders, they were considered as the elite. An example was Wu Shong, who had entered the samsara stage. However, there was still a gap between him and the elders. What should we do now? When Little Martin saw this chaotic scene, he was at a loss. After all, they were all extremely wary of those eternal illusion demon flowers. We must break that formation as soon as possible. Otherwise, more and more people will fall into a hallucination as the hallucination fragrance accumulates. Lin Dong glanced at the swaying black flowers on the distant mountaintops, before he said in a deep voice. How do we break it? Little Martin asked. We must remove all 69 eternal illusion demon flowers simultaneously in order to break the formation. However, we are unable to get close to those eternal illusion demon flowers, Wu Zhong frowned and said. He was quite powerful and he could still endure for a while. However, it might be difficult for others to do so. All of you should divide yourselves in 69 groups, with 3 men in each group. After contemplating for a moment, Lin Dong instructed them. Little Martin did not hesitate after hearing this. He waved his hand before the large number of experts from the celestial demon Martin tribe that were gathered beside him immediately split in a well-coordinated fashion. Soon after, they formed 69 small groups. This lineup was quite formidable and it caused Lin Dong to secretly praise them in his heart. It's no wonder they were one of the 4 overlord tribes. Such a foundation was truly deserving of respect. I will give each group a demon destroyer talisman. This will allow you to temporarily suppress the eternal illusion demon flower's hallucination fragrance. All of you must cooperate with each other in this extremely short period of time and remove all 69 eternal illusion demon flowers in order to break the formation. Lin Dong clenched his hand before the ancestor stone appeared in his palm. Subsequently, 69 warm white lights shot out and were given to the 69 small groups. Moreover, the ancestor stone is only able to produce this amount of demon destroyer talismans. Hence, we only have one opportunity. If we fail, we will require a much longer time in order to break the formation. At that time, I'm afraid that things will become even more troublesome. Lin Dong warned with a solemn expression. Understood. The many experts from the celestial demon Martin tribe nodded solemnly upon hearing this. What about you? As if he recalled something, little Martin suddenly turned towards Lin Dong and asked. After which, Wu Zhong and the rest also looked at Lin Dong with a doubtful expression. There is no way that fellow will allow us to break the formation so easily. Hence, I shall deal with him. Lin Dong shrugged his shoulders. After which, he lifted his head and looked at a spot in the sky. At that spot, Hao Jiuyo was staring at them with sinister eyes. Meanwhile, dense black hallucination fragrance circulated around him. It seems like the latter was able to activate the strength of the formation. Are you going to fight with him all by yourself? Little Martin's expression changed. Previously, he had exchanged blows with Hao Jiuyo and he knew how troublesome it was to deal with that fellow. Moreover, he had currently become much stronger, since he was able to utilize the strength of his formation. Why don't I lend you a hand? Lin Dong shook his head. The hallucination fragrance around him is extremely dense. Without the protection from the ancestor stone, you are unable to last for long. Relax, I might have a headache dealing with him if he is merely an ordinary celestial demon Martin tribe Samsara stage expert. However, it will be a lot less troublesome since he possessed the strength of the Yimo. Most of Lin Dong's techniques were extremely powerful against Yimo. Hence, even though others might find them extremely troublesome to deal with, it was evidently much easier for him to deal with a Yimo compared to an ordinary expert. All right, let us know if you cannot hold on any longer and I will lead some men and assist you. Little Martin frowned. However, there was little he could do right now. Hence, he simply nodded and said, I will. Lin Dong gave a faint smile. He said, all of you should hurry. Let's get moving. Moreover, don't destroy the eternal illusion demon flowers. Pluck them and hand them over to me. I have plans for them. Little Martin nodded. Then, he waved his hand and cried, move. Hundreds of figures immediately rushed forward in all directions after his voice sounded. Their momentum was quite startling. After little Martin's group swiftly departed, Lin Dong locked his eyes onto Hao Jiuyo, who was standing in the sky. His body moved before he leapt towards the sky. Finally, he appeared in front of the latter. A mere advanced profound death stage brat actually dares to challenge me all by himself? Truly an arrogant bastard. Hao Jiuyo looked at Lin Dong, who had come on his own, before a ridicule rose on his lips as he chuckled. It's enough to deal with you. Lin Dong laughed before a warm white light filled the space around him. Those hallucination fragrance, which were diffusing over, would disappear with a sizzling sound upon making contact and they could not harm Lin Dong at all. Such shameless words. Do you really think that there is nothing I can do to you since you are protected by the Ancestor Stone? Moreover, since you ruined my plans, I will definitely make you suffer a fate worse than death after I capture you." Hao Jiuyo gave a menacing chuckle. Soon after, his hand seals changed before the surrounding black flower fragrance quickly spread. After which, he swung his sleeves before the space shook, and over a dozen huge black vines, which resembled poisonous snakes, penetrated through the empty space and shot explosively towards Lindong with lightning-like speed. Bang! Lindong clenched his hand upon seeing this. Lightning erupted before his lightning emperor scepter appeared. Following which, thunderbolts shot out and tore past over a dozen huge black vines. Sizzle sizzle. Those black vines, which could easily ensnare a perfect profound death stage expert, were split apart after those thunderbolts flashed by. The places whereby they were split were as smooth as the surface of a mirror. This power. Hao Jiuyo's pupils shrunk when he saw this. That was because he could detect a frightening power from the lightning emperor scepter in Lindong's hands. Thunderbolt ancestral symbol. You are quite sharp. Lindong laughed. I was wondering why you dared to come alone. It turns out you actually have something like this to rely on. However, even though the Thunderbolt ancestral symbol is powerful, with your feeble strength, a treasure like that has merely gone to waste. Any external object is useless in the face of absolute strength. Hao Jiuyo laughed. His body shook before his 10,000 feet large black bat wings extended from his back. Immediately, the surrounding yuan power began to churn violently. At this moment, the black hallucination fragrance began to gather swiftly on Hao Jiuyo's broken arm, turning it into a mysterious black arm with eternal illusion demon flowers tattooed on it. You are not qualified to play with me, brat. Flapping his bat wings, Hao Jiuyo suddenly clenched his black arm tightly. When he felt the vast and mighty ocean-like energy surging within his body, the smile on the corner of his lips grew even more brutal. It is too early to say who is no match for whom. Lindong stomped his foot heavily against the ground. Immediately, a clear and ancient dragon roar was emitted from within his body. After which, jade-colored light gathered behind him. Then, with a puff sound, they broke free from his body and transformed into a pair of 10,000 feet long jade-colored dragon wings. Roar roar! A few hundred dragon-like tattoos roared and circled around Lindong's body. After which, an intense pressure swept forth like floodwaters, involuntarily attracting the attention of the crowd. Moreover, after they saw the 10,000 feet large jade wings behind Lindong, shock promptly surfaced in their eyes. That ripple. The tribe leader of the celestial demon Martin tribe, who was engaging in an intense fight with the Heaven Illusion King, turned his attention at this moment. His peripheral vision drifted towards the skinny figure standing in the sky, while a tinge of shock flashed across his heart. It is actually the primal dragon bone. Over 100 green dragon-like tattoos danced around Lindong while an earth-shaking dragon roar echoed across the area. An ancient and heavy dragon tribe pressure rose within the celestial demon Martin tribe, a scene that very easily drew everyone's attention. Dragon tribe pressure? Lindong's change caused even Hao Jiuyo to be slightly startled. His eyes appeared a little strange as he observed Lindong. The latter was clearly a genuine human. However, this dragon tribe pressure was also exceptionally pure, so pure that even some top experts within the dragon tribe could not compare. This was undoubtedly rather baffling. What an interesting fellow. He not only possessed the Ancestor Stone and ancestral symbols, but also the mighty pressure of the dragon tribe. Hao Jiuyo smiled indifferently. However, his eyes were not smiling. Black meridians wiggled on his black demon arm, emitting an extremely wild and violent energy ripple. However, no matter how many techniques you have, you will still die today. A gold glint flickered in Hao Jiuyo's eyes. Without further ado, his foot stamped in the air while black hallucination fragrance surged and his body appeared in front of Lindong in a ghost-like fashion. His finger thrust forward in the air and the black hallucination fragrance gathered. It directly turned into a huge black wooden thorn that tore through the air and ruthlessly pierced towards Lindong's forehead. Swoosh! The jade-colored dragon wings behind Lindong forcefully flapped. Wild winds blew and his body shot backwards explosively in a split second, dodging Hao Jiuyo's formidable attack. Bang! Lin Dong attacked the moment his body pulled back. Lightning surged on the scepter in his hand as numerous scepter shadows appeared. The shadows seemed to fill the sky as they enveloped Hao Jiuyo. Insignificant tricks. Hao Jiuyo laughed coldly. With a whirl of his hand, a black petal appeared before him next. It directly blocked the many lightning-charged scepter shadows. Go! Hao Jiuyo flicked his finger and the black flower petal in front of him shot forward. A sharp aura cut through space and headed straight for Lin Dong's throat. Clang! The lightning emperor scepter in Lin Dong's hand thrust forward, lightly lifting the edge of the flower petal, slightly changing the latter's trajectory. Subsequently, the flower petal whistled past the top of Lin Dong's head. Lin Dong revealed his outstanding fighting experience in this exchange. Many years of life or death battles had bestowed him with exceptionally acute battle senses. Show me your true ability. Otherwise, you will have little chance of victory. Hao Jiuyo said in a faint voice. He extended his hand and the black hallucination fragrance condensed into many eternal illusion demon flowers in his hand while a strange ripple spread. Lin Dong's eyes slightly hardened. Looks like he did not need to be courteous at all. He deeply breathed in and when he exhaled, a thunderous dragon roar was emitted. Roar? A warm jade color brilliance exploded from within Lin Dong's body. The 300 green dragon light tattoos originally revolving around Lin Dong gradually changed. Finally, they turned into 300 purplish gold dragon tattoos. A purplish gold luster also emerged in Lin Dong's eyes at this moment as his originally powerful aura soared once again. Clearly, he had activated the power of the primal dragon bone. Now this is finally getting a little interesting. Hao Jiuyo laughed coldly. He clenched his hand and the many eternal illusion demon flowers shot out. They appeared like many black stars as they rushed towards Lin Dong from all directions. Lin Dong held the lightning emperor scepter with his eyes slightly shut. They suddenly opened in the next moment as the 300 purplish gold dragon tattoos around him let out a long roar towards the sky. Bang! Lin Dong's body turned into a streak of purplish gold light as he shot forward. 300 purplish gold dragon tattoos coiled around his body, making him appear just like a purplish golden large dragon which was giving off an endless pressure. Bang bang bang! Purple gold light swept past and the many eternal illusion demon flowers immediately exploded. Even space violently distorted wherever he passed. Hao Jiuyo remained completely still as he watched the purplish gold light figure which was ferociously charging at him. Disdain rose from the corners of his mouth. He allowed the light to charge over as he slowly lifted his black demon arm. His palm opened and directly met the lightning emperor scepter which had shot out from the purplish gold light. Creak creak. The lightning emperor scepter containing the power of 300 purplish gold dragon tattoos powerfully stabbed Hao Jiuyo's palm. A piercing noise erupted while the resultant energy ripple rubbed against the air, unleashing a thunderous sound. However, Hao Jiuyo, who had used his palm to forcibly receive this fierce attack of Lin Dong, did not even move. His demon arm also showed no signs of trembling. The only change was that the eternal illusion demon flower symbols tattooed on his demon arm seemed to have bloomed slightly. Lin Dong's expression changed when he saw this. Hao Jiuyo was indeed not an ordinary individual. No wonder even little Martin had suffered at his hands. Scram! Hao Jiuyo revealed a sneer as his palm twisted and explosively jerked. Bang! An incomparably wild and violent energy shockwave swept forth, scattering the purplish gold light that Lin Dong had created. The purplish gold dragon tattoos around him also dropped in number. Humph! Murderous intent surged within Hao Jiuyo's eyes as he forced Lin Dong back with a palm. Hao Jiuyo's body moved and many after-images appeared around Lin Dong. His demonic arm contained a terrifying strength as it swept towards Lin Dong from all directions. Clang clang clang. The lightning emperor scepter in Lin Dong's hand transformed into many lightning bolts at this moment. These lightning bolts guarded Lin Dong's body. However, he had clearly fallen into a disadvantage. Some of Hao Jiryo's attacks had broken his defense and directly smashed into his body. If it was not because Lin Dong had the primal dragon bone, he would definitely be seriously injured by such powerful attacks. While Lin Dong was doing his best to deal with Hao Jiryo, Little Martin's small group had already approached a distant mountain peak. Faint white light scattered from the Demon Destroyer talisman and covered them, protecting them from the erosion of the hallucination fragrance outside. Big Brother Ajia, it seems that Brother Lin Dong is unable to hold on any longer. The expression of an expert from the celestial demon Martin tribe beside Little Martin suddenly changed as he spoke. Little Martin's body paused. He turned his head to take a look and saw Lin Dong being enveloped by Hao Jiryo's attacks. His pupils shrunk slightly as his fists tightly clenched. Big Brother Arjiao, why don't you go and help Brother Lin Dong? Let us handle this. The other person said. From the looks of it, Lin Dong's situation appeared quite terrible. Arjiao pondered upon hearing this. However, he shook his head in front of the two pairs of surprised eyes. Since he said that he can handle it, he will definitely be able to do so. Let's finish our task first. Understood. The two of them nodded. They exchanged a glance with each other and saw the uncertainty and helplessness in each other's eyes. They were really unable to understand where Little Martin's confidence originated from. That Hao Jiryo was a ruthless fellow who had even defeated Little Martin. Although Lin Dong had many techniques, there was ultimately still a huge disparity between himself and Hao Jiryo. However, despite their uncertainty, they were in no position to comment since Little Martin had already spoken. The trio charged into the dense layers of black hallucination fragrance and directly hurried to the mountain top. Little Martin cast a glance towards that certain far-off spot. Using a voice that only he could hear, he muttered, "You better not end up dying. Otherwise, you will lose all the face of us brothers." Bang! The black demon arm was like a poison dragon that directly shattered the lightning defenses in an extremely overbearing manner. After which, it landed on Lin Dong's chest with lightning speed. A low and deep sound spread. Lin Dong's chest appeared to sink slightly. His body flew backwards and a mouthful of fresh blood was involuntarily spat out from his mouth. Although he possessed the primal dragon bone and an extremely strong physical body, it was obvious that these ferocious attacks of Hao Jiryo were not easy to bear. The bones in your body are really tough. Hao Jiryo looked at Lin Dong with ridicule, but his eyes contained some surprise. His earlier attack could injure another Samsara stage expert, and even less needed to be said for a profound death stage expert. Yet, besides spitting out some blood, Lin Dong's aura was still strong. The latter did not appear to show any signs of being seriously injured. This ability to endure being beaten caused even Hao Jiryo to be astonished. Being able to endure being beaten is also a kind of capability. Lin Dong wiped off the trace of blood on the corner of his mouth. His voice was still calm. It is indeed a kind of capability. Hao Jiryo nodded. The smile on his lips gradually became ferocious. However, a rock can be smashed to dust regardless of how hard it is. Let me see just how many times you can endure. Black light suddenly blossomed from Hao Jiryo's demon arm after his voice sounded as evil light rippled outwards in waves. The eternal illusion demon flowers tattooed on his arm also slowly bloomed little by little as the light spread. Those black meridians were just like the roots of a flower as they spread all over Hao Jiryo's arm while a frighteningly evil aura rapidly brewed. Look at how my punch will smash you into dust. Hao Jiryo's mouth parted, forming a twisted smile. As he tightly clenched his hand, even space itself started to distort. Blood was spat out from Lin Dong's mouth while a grave expression gathered in Lin Dong's eyes. He could sense the terrifying power that was gathering on Hao Jiryo's demon arm. Truly a troublesome person. Lin Dong slowly relaxed his tight grip on the Lightning Emperor scepter. After which, he gently placed his hands together, forming an exceptionally strange seal. Following the formation of this seal, the raging purplish gold dragon tattoos around his body gradually calmed down as a mysterious ripple pulsed from his palms. The ripple descended from above and finally entered the land below. At this moment, everyone could feel the land under their feet begin to shake slightly. It was as if a giant dragon was awakening. Vast and mighty energy surged like floodwaters under the ground. The plants on the surface began to wither as a desolate aura quietly spread. Lin Dong slowly extended his hand. After which, he pointed his hand at the ground below and lightly clenched. A soft voice seemed to bring with it the muffled sound of the land as it reverberated across the entire place. All living things of the land turn into desolation. The vast land continuously trembled at this moment. Many powerful individuals from the celestial demon Martin tribe were stunned when they saw that the surrounding land was rapidly turning barren. They could feel that there were waves of vast and majestic energy coursing beneath the ground, just like tens of thousands of galloping dragons, before they headed towards the same place. That place was where Lin Dong was located. Bang! The ground beneath Lin Dong's feet suddenly split apart the moment he clenched his fist tightly. Subsequently, everyone was stunned when they saw a 10,000 feet large energy light pillar emerging from the ground and bursting through the clouds. On one end, the energy light pillar was connected to the ground, while on the other, it was connected to Lin Dong. A vast amount of energy, that resembled the ocean, gushed into his body instantly. Sizzle. As this terrifying amount of energy gushed into his body, Lin Dong's body swelled to twice its size. Nonetheless, despite the massive surge in energy, Lin Dong did not feel any discomfort because he had the primal dragon bone. Therefore, unless it was an extremely frightening and powerful energy, it was quite difficult to overstuff his body. Currently, his black hair was completely disheveled. Meanwhile, the purple gold glint in his eyes seemed to have solidified. As he breathed, two air dragons meandered and wiggled. An extremely frightening aura swept out from within his body like a thunderstorm, causing a powerful storm to stir. The Great Desolation scripture, a deep and profound martial arts that originated from the Great Desolate Tablet, had gradually revealed its incredible might as Lin Dong became stronger. When Lin Dong used it in the past, he was only able to turn the area within a few hundred kilometers into barren land. However, as of now, his area of effect had grown to thousands of kilometers. At a glance, it seems like even the edge of his sight was filled with a desolate and barren aura. The Great Desolation scripture was as overbearing as always. You are quite capable. Hao Jiuyou looked at Lin Dong, whose aura was soaring wildly. Then, the disdain on the corner of his lips finally faded away gradually. A mere advanced profound death stage brat had actually given him so many surprises. This was enough to force him to take the latter seriously. However, I wonder just how many of my attacks can the current you handle? Hao Jiuyou slowly clenched his demon arm. The eternal illusion demon flowers tattooed on his arm had bloomed completely. Their mysterious and demonic appearance was filled with the scent of death. Roar! Lin Dong took a step forward before a frightening thunderous dragon roar emerged from within his body. After which, many purple gold dragon light tattoos whistled forward and circled around his body. 800. With the help of the Great Desolation scripture, Lin Dong was actually able to form 800 purple gold dragon light tattoos. A total of 800 purple gold dragon light tattoos circled around Lin Dong's body. Their resplendent purple gold glow resembled that of the bright sun. As they glowed, they emitted a frightening strength which could not be described with words. Lin Dong lifted his head. His eyes, which were filled with a purple gold luster, stared intently at the distant Hao Jiuyou. In the next moment, he suddenly flapped the dragon wings on his back. Bang! Thunder echoed across the sky before Lin Dong's body instantly disappeared. In fact, even an ultimate samsara stage expert could only see a purple gold light flash across the sky. The empty space where that light passed became distorted, before a purple gold scar appeared. The 10,000 feet gap between them was breached instantly. As Hao Jiuyou stared at the purple gold light that was being rapidly magnified in his eyes, his pupils shrunk slightly. After which, a low roar which resembled that of a wild beast, was emitted from his throat. Then, he clenched his demon arm tightly and threw a punch forward. Monstrous evil demonic aura swept out from his arm and transformed into a black flower on his fist. As that flower slowly rotated, a frightening ripple radiated from it. The purple gold light suddenly arrived. After which, 800 purple gold dragon light tattoos roared. In fact, even the ground beneath crumbled, creating a huge crack. Bang! The purple gold dragon fist tore through the empty space and slammed heavily against the black flower on Hao Jiuyo's fist in an extremely frightening fashion. The air itself seemed to have frozen at the moment of impact. Soon after, a rising sun bloomed in the sky before an indescribable energy assault wave swept forth like a hurricane. In fact, the entire sky was ravaged by that assault wave. Countless members of the celestial demon Martin tribe lifted their heads and stared at the frightening ripples in the sky. It was likely that none of them had expected that this young man, who was merely at the advanced profound death stage, was actually able to push Hao Jiuyo until such an extent. Swoosh! Amidst the stares from countless onlookers, two figures suddenly shot out from within that bright sun, which was hanging in the sky. After which, both of them staggered backwards. Clearly, the both of them were wounded in the previous clash. Bang! Lin Dong stomped his foot solemnly. Only then did he manage to stabilize his body. His arm trembled gently when that wild and violent energy that had invaded his body attempted to course through his body in an attempt to break it. Humph! However, Lin Dong merely snorted coldly when up against this wild and violent energy which had invaded his body. Circulating his devouring power, he directly swallowed that energy. After which, he lifted his head and stared coldly at Hao Jiuyo, who was at quite a distance away. At this moment, the latter was also in a pretty terrible state. Not only were the clothes on his body shattered from that explosion, but there was also blood seeping out from his demon arm. Moreover, the eternal illusion demon flower symbols on his arm had dimmed significantly. Clearly, Hao Jiuyo did not gain much of an advantage in that previous clash. You bastard! Hao Jiuyo had a ferocious and brutal expression. Although the blood on his arm was quickly absorbed into his body and the injuries on his demon arm were gradually healing, his eyes were still filled with fury. After all, he never expected that both Lin Dong and him would suffer after an exchange. It seems like you are not as powerful as I thought you would be. The intense pain on Lin Dong's arm gradually went away as he stared at Hao Jiuyo and said, "Do you really think that you can defeat me with such techniques?" Hao Jiuyo chuckled. It was obvious that Lin Dong's temporary boost in strength would not last forever. Therefore, once this boost disappears, what can Lin Dong possibly use to defeat him? I am not interested in defeating you. All I need to do is to tie you down and wait for little Martin's group to break the formation. After which, you will die for sure. Lin Dong teased him sadistically. You? Hao Jiuyo's pupils shrunk as he hurriedly turned his head. Only then did he realize that the experts from the celestial demon Martin tribe have already approached the 69 mountaintops. After which, once the eternal illusion demon flowers were removed and the formation was broken, the powerful individuals from the celestial demon Martin tribe would no longer be tied down. At that time, his fate would likely be quite a miserable one. Moreover, the Heaven Illusion King duo would not let him off easy if the plan fails. You hindrance! With this thought in mind, Hao Jiuyo's eyes became completely gloomy. That was because he knew that he had allowed himself to be tied down by Lin Dong for far too long. Hence, if this continues on, their plan today would definitely fail. I cannot allow this to drag on any further. A ruthless expression flashed across Hao Jiuyo's eyes. Promptly, he clenched his teeth viciously. Both his hands formed a seal before his body began to swell in a strange fashion. Finally, his body exploded in front of Lin Dong's stunned eyes. Lin Dong was startled when he saw this sight. This fellow actually self-destructed? Something's not right. Lin Dong focused his attention. That was because he saw that the hallucination fragrance permeating the air were beginning to gather towards a spot in his vicinity from all directions. Brat, you forced my hand. However, it is an honor for you to be killed by this skill. Hao Jiuyo's sinister voice resounded across the sky as those hallucination fragrance gathered together. Lin Dong's expression turned grave when he saw this strange scene. He clenched his fist tightly before another 800 purple gold dragon-like tattoos surged around his body. Eternal illusion flower demon body. Hao Jiuyo's incomparably sinister cry once again resounded in the sky as Lin Dong readied himself. Buzz buzz. After crying out loud, the originally scattered blood fog began to gather towards a certain spot. After which, those black hallucination fragrance actually merged with that blood fog. An increasing amount of hallucination fragrance spread. After which, the members of the celestial demon Martin tribe were stunned when they saw a 10,000 feet large black flower which had traces of scarlet appearing vividly in the sky above them. That enormous black flower gently extended its leaves. Currently, Haojiryo's body had transformed into a huge eternal illusion demon flower. Countless scarlet vines were dancing around just like poison dragons, while the black hallucination fragrance had transformed into a fog that encircled him. It was an exceptionally strange sight. Ha ha, how about this? How are you going to fight me now? The black flower swayed before Haojiryo's sharp laughter reverberated. Swinging one of his vines violently, he directly left a huge crack on the ground. His frightening strength caused one's heart to shudder. Lin Dong wore a grave expression as he stared at Haojiryo, who had transformed and taken on a strange form. Following which, he frowned. That was because he realized that the latter's strength seemed to have surged significantly. Furthermore, the most crucial fact was that this fellow's actual body was actually hidden within that flower body and it was impossible to locate his actual body. Therefore, attacking randomly would be completely useless and it will merely exhaust one's strength. Ha ha. At this moment, Haojiryo also saw Lin Dong's hesitation. Immediately, he laughed out loud. Subsequently, his black vines shot out in all directions. However, they were not targeting Lin Dong. Instead, they had gone after those small groups which were attempting to remove the eternal illusion demon flowers. This sudden attack caught these small groups by surprise. Fortunately, they were all elites of the celestial demon Martin tribe and they did not suffer any injuries. Nevertheless, their speed was reduced. When Lin Dong saw this scene, his eyes darkened. Then, he stomped heavily against the empty air before his body became translucent jade in color. In fact, it was possible to see the ancient jade bones in his body. Following which, his bones squirmed and appeared just like meandering ancient dragons. Roar? A low and deep ancient dragon roar reverberated continuously within Lin Dong's body. Clenching both his hands tightly, the strength within his body was unleashed to its limits. A total of 800 purple gold dragon light tattoos were formed at this moment. 1,000. Some blood appeared on Lin Dong's skin when the 1,000th purple gold dragon light tattoo was formed. This was clearly the maximum amount that he could form with his current body. Charge! A low and deep voice that resembled a dragon roar sounded from Lin Dong's mouth. His eyes were searing hot as he stared at that distant huge black flower. Following which, his body flew forward in the next instant. 1,000 purple gold dragon light tattoos surged forward. The sound of 1,000 roaring dragons caused the entire world to tremble. This episode ends here.